grab some tea, some coffee, some water, and enjoy story time. This story is about how it kind of all started somewhat. I've got other stories, but I felt called to share this one first. So a little backstory of like my childhood growing up. I have both parents. They're both married. Had a pretty decent childhood, but I was a very depressed child. I was always alone in my room writing poetry, keeping to myself. About 15 after I lost my virginity, that's when life kind of like threw itself around as I started to get older. From 15 or 16 all the way up until I was 18, I was always at parties with my friends. We were getting drunk all summer, smoking weed, doing all of the shebang. And I partook in a lot of those activities. Until one day, I was at a friend's house. She was like one of the first friends to like have her first place. So there was like parties every day. And there was one day where I'm just like, I'm tired of drinking. And like people would just show up at her doorstep with cases of beer. And there was that one night that was like very pivotal. And I was sitting in the kitchen counter and I was just watching everybody get drunk. I was sober. I didn't feel like drinking that day. And something hit me and I'm just looking all around me like, what's happening? Like, is this what we do? Watching some friends like go off into rooms with people that they didn't even know and I was like, oh, so they probably view me as one of them. So it's like I woke up one day that I don't remember anything that happened the rest of that night, but I do remember that I wasn't going down the right path. I landed a job, and mind you, it took me years just to get a job. So my uncle had like this staffing agency and decided to work with them for like a couple weeks from a flooding that happened years ago. This was like 2010 or something. I think it was. Not 2010, like 2010. And I worked with them for like a week or so, stacked up a couple of dollars, and out of the blue, I'm just like, I just felt like I needed to go. I did not belong in Wisconsin. Mind you, I was in Wisconsin. I felt like I don't belong here. And I just felt called to leave everything behind and just leave. So I got the job gig with my uncle, stacked up a couple of dollars. And then I remember telling my mom, like, I'm moving to Maryland. Mind you, I have never left the state of Wisconsin besides maybe one time to Chicago and one time to Minneapolis. That was it. And I was younger. And so I've never, I'm not even considering that being out of state because it's in the same vicinity. But I remember telling my mom, I'm moving to Maryland. And I had enough money to get a Greyhound bus ticket. And I had $300 in my pocket. My mom was bringing me to the Greyhound station. And I thought my mom would be like, no, honey, don't go. Are you sure you're making the right decision? But this is how I knew that it was time for me to go. I told my mom, I was like, you know what? I don't know if I want to go. I'm going to miss my friends. I'm going to miss everybody. Sorry. And my mom was like, you know what? I think you should go. I think you do great. And she said, I bet you 10 years from now, I bet you your friends will still be doing the same thing they're doing today. So that was my cue to go. I was scared because I've never been to that place before. I don't know anyone. I'm starting from scratch. I only packed 2 suitcases. One suitcase was just full of shoes. It was just shoes. The other was clothes. Left everything else behind, hopped on that Greyhound. And as I was on that Greyhound, I was like cleaning up my phone. And it wasn't like the phones that we have nowadays. Like this was like track phones. I think that's what they were called or whatever. where you go to Walmart and you load minutes and stuff on it. But I was like clearing that phone. Didn't know anybody. But anyways, I made it to Maryland. I found a place with a bunch of other people that I was rooming with. The first day I got there, I was like exploring. Mind you, I've never been to this place, so I didn't know where I lived. I lived in the Blue Light District over on South Monroe, Baltimore, Maryland, downtown. I thought it was like Wisconsin because at the time that I left, like Green Bay was partially like decent. Like we didn't really have any issues. I would go for walks late at night at like 9, 10 o'clock at night, headphones on and everything. Didn't even realize where I was, but that's how protected I was until I heard my first gunshots ever. And what did I do? I went to go explore. But anyways, crazy. So the first week I was in Maryland, I hopped on a city bus and I was just like riding the city bus all day, just like exploring the area and trying to fill out job applications. And the first application I filled out, which was at Golden Crest, a Jamaican restaurant. The first place I applied, I got the job. As soon as I got on the bus that day to go explore more downtown and stuff, I got a call from Miss Dion. And she told me that I had the job and I started the next day. So it's crazy. So I'm like, the first job I apply, I get the job. I'm like, okay, so now I got the job. Now I'm ready to go off and, start this whole new world because I'm thinking, $7.25 was a lot. I'm thinking that it's like Wisconsin. East Coast is expensive. So I'm thinking I'm slowly about to get on my feet and get it together. Like I was excited. Finally got my first job, mind you, because I couldn't get a job for crap for like years. I think since I was like 16, I couldn't find a job. And mind you, no, it's 2 years. It seemed like a long time at the time. So got the first job that I landed at Golden Crest. All of a sudden I'm sitting on the stoop, just getting some fresh air, exploring everything around me. I get a call, and all of a sudden I hear a voice saying, "Why didn't you tell me you were here? I live across town." I was like, "Who is this?" And it was an aunt that I have not seen since I was like 8, 9 years old. And I'm like, "What?" So she invited me over for dinner a couple times or whatever, and got to know more about Maryland, since, mind you, I didn't know anybody in Maryland. But it's crazy how my aunt calls me randomly and tells me, "Hey, I live across town." She lived about, I want to say maybe 35, 40 minutes across town. So fast forwarding, I'm working at the Caribbean spot or whatever, and things don't go well at the place that I was living. It's kind of getting a little violent. So my aunt said, "That, come stay with me." So I left there, ended up staying with her. Mind you, if I didn't know anybody there and all that was going down, I didn't really have enough money to like dip out. And that's how God like carried me through. And I knew that I was supposed to be there. I still got more. So leave there, go live with my aunt on the other side of town. I start paying her some rent from the job that I'm doing. I started looking for places. I'm like, these places are expensive. I can't afford this by myself. So as I'm working at Golden Crest, I've had plenty of regulars. Never understood a lick of patois until my work mom, Miss Dion, and the crew started teaching me patois. Every day she would put on the whiteboard a new word in patois that I can learn and pick up, because I never understood anything anybody was saying when they were coming in there. But I started to pick it up and I started having regulars, and there was a girl. There was a couple of regulars that would come in, but particularly there was like this woman and her husband, and they had this little baby, and I would always just be so obsessed with that little boy. Every time they came in, I got excited. There was another girl who'd come in. She was just so adorable. Mind you, she was so adorable. And she would always come in, order the same thing on her lunch break. And then there was this guy who would like stalk me. He would like come in, I think like every Wednesday, like 2 days a week, he would come in to order bun and cheese. I'm used to getting hit on all day when I was working there, and people asked me for my number, but I wasn't interested in getting to know anybody at the time, and it was kind of annoying. But there was this guy. He was like consistent. Like he came in like a couple times out of the week, ordered the same thing, tried to get my number. Every time he tried to get my number, I'd be like, I have a boyfriend. I have a boyfriend. I have a boyfriend. I have a boyfriend. I didn't have a boyfriend. One of the regulars that came in, the cute one who would always come on her lunch break or whatever. That whole day I was getting hit on. So I was like, not her, a girl too. I was like, because she's like, do you have a boyfriend? Are you married? Are you? I was like, no. Why? She's like, I want you to meet my brother. Don't worry. He's not ugly. I think you guys would make a cute couple. I was like, okay. I mean, she's cool, so I trust her judgment. I was like, fine, whatever. It's cool. She's like, okay, I'll bring him in one of these days. That same night, that creepy stalker guy was her brother. That was her brother. So he already knew that I didn't have a boyfriend. He knew I wasn't married, so I ended up giving him my number or whatever. So we went on a couple dates, and then a couple Caribbean parties and stuff. And come to find out, all these people that I done already met and were regulars and I was cool with, they're all related to him. So I was like, what a coincidence. So anyways, fast forwarding, we're dating and all this other stuff, and things are going good until my aunt was like, I am moving back to Wisconsin. And I'm like, no, what am I going to do? I was like, I just met someone and I don't want to move back now. And she's like, well, you have until this time to figure out if you're going to move back with us or, we just got to figure it out. What am I going to do? So I told my then boyfriend at the time, I was like, what was going on? Met the family, and so they welcomed me in because he didn't want me to go either. Come on, like we just started getting things off the ground. So I ended up moving in with him and his family, and things are going good, and all of a sudden I'm getting proposed to. So let's do a little recap. So I come to Maryland with nothing, with $300. Don't know anybody, never been to this place. Come to find out that I had an aunt who lived across town. Then I got the job. The first place I applied, I got the job at the Caribbean restaurant. Met all the people, fast forward. Now she's moving back to Wisconsin. So that was just a little recap. So I move in with him. And he didn't like the fact that I was only making $7.25 an hour. And it's not that he was using me or anything. It's just I wasn't happy because I was getting tired of like driving all the way across town. Anybody who's in Maryland, I lived in Essex and I would travel on the city bus all the way to Catonsville. That's like on the other side of town every day. That was like a 2.5 hour bus ride every day. Well, not every day, like I had my days off, but still. So he didn't like that. So he helped me find other jobs, and that's when I started getting into hospitality, front desk work, and I started elevating a little bit, start making a little bit more money. So during that time period of us being married, mind you, I didn't know myself, but fast forwarding it a couple years, we were together 8-9 years, I think. But yeah, we got married like a couple months after we met. I'm not even gonna lie. Wasn't horrible. But I started to grow depressed, not understanding why. I think I was trying to be perfect. I was trying too hard to be perfect for someone. To the point I grew depressed because I ended up losing myself. Not saying he's a bad person. He's not a bad guy. So fast forward to August 2017. I kid you not. We had that solar eclipse of August 2017. Changed my life. Oh, mind you, in between that, I ended up doing nursing because his family was into nursing and they were making decent money. I loved caring for people. I loved what I did, so I ended up going into nursing. And then he kind of like, helped me get through it. And then I was actually in school, which I ended up dropping out to be a pediatrician. But anyways, let me get to, you know, a story. I mean, let me finish. I'm going to cut this. Ugh. So fast forward to August 2017 of that solar eclipse. I remember watching that. I even took pictures of it, but it was cool because I'm like, I've never seen a solar eclipse before. But I remember that day me sitting in the parking lot with my camera taking pictures, and it just felt eerie in the air, like something changed like dramatically spiritually within me. Like I just didn't feel right ever since. Like I just all of a sudden I started getting like these visions, and I would like call my mom after work in the morning and cry because I'm like, I feel like, mind you, I was a Christian at the time. I would cry. I'm like, I'm gonna go to hell because I feel like I'm gonna leave my husband. I feel like we're not supposed to be together. I feel like things are gonna end. Like I don't feel good about this, and it was scary for me because I just wanted to do right by God. And with all the eerie energy I've been feeling, like weeks and months after that, like I'm just trying to like find myself, like all these visions were like hitting me left and right. I wasn't understanding because I've never really had it hit me like that. I'll even share a story about like my childhood and my depression and my suicide attempts that I've been through, and I'll share that in another story. But I was doing Uber or Lyft, whatever, and I met this guy. TMI, but I'm going to share it anyways. Like, there was a point in my marriage where I wasn't sexually attracted to my husband. I thought there was something wrong with me hormonally. Like, to the point I tried to get healthy and I tried to lose some weight, and it still wasn't helping. I just didn't understand why I couldn't get intimate with my husband. Mind you, I had everything. We had our own place, we had our own cars, we had great careers, we had everything pretty much, but I just didn't understand why I wasn't like sexually attracted to my husband. I even gave him permission, like, it's okay if you you can go out there and go have sex with somebody, because I can't do it. So that was before even like the eclipse and everything. So anyways, fast forward back to what I was talking about. So I was like doing Uber or Lyft, and then I met this guy. And then instantly when I met this guy, like something, I don't know what it was, but it was like soon his energy just like, it like woke me up. I don't know. I'm driving, trying to play it all cool, trying to be professional. Had my wedding ring on, and I remember driving, trying to start small talk, just to keep things not awkward. And I remember him looking at me in that rearview mirror, and he's like, and mind you, I'm a smiley, bubbly person. I'm a Taurus. Like, nobody would ever know that there's something going on with us unless you really knew us. But I remember he was looking at me, and then I remember him saying, "Are you really happy?" And I was like, "Huh?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" So I don't remember exactly what he was asking me, but I remember he was just like reading my soul. And something inside me kind of like, I don't know, butterflies. I don't want to be provocative on here, but I got aroused. And we weren't even talking sexually. I didn't understand what it was. So he said he was a producer, and I was like, maybe this is a sign that I need to get back into playing with music again, because music made me happy. So we exchanged Instagrams, and we actually kind of linking up. And I'm not gonna lie, I was a little secretive with it because I didn't want my husband to know that I was like kicking it with some other man, trying to start music again. And I was dishonest at the time. And when I went over there to work on music, let's just say we didn't work on music, and and it kind of just woke me up. But at that moment, the guilt like ate me up to the point where I'm like, I can't keep this a secret. So I was like, at that point, I knew that if things were over with me and my husband, because I realized what I was missing from my relationship, and that was to feel seen, to for somebody to like see my soul, to see my spirit, and this man could like read everything about me, all the way down to like when my periods were gonna start. It was like this. I would tell myself that man is the devil himself. So that night after it happened, I was scared to face my husband because I was going to tell him. And I was kind of hoping that I would have like the easy way out by saying, I was hoping that he'd be like, oh, F you, big. I was hoping for all that because it would have been easy. It would have been easy to let go. But instead, after I told him he forgave me, I felt even more like SHIT. But then again, I had to tell him, like this isn't working. I don't think that we should move forward with that. And I am going to finish the rest of this story. That was just a sample in the next video. But stay tuned. So with that story, when we take that leap of faith, when we get a nudge or an inkling that we need to do something, we need to trust and believe that our higher power got us. And if it was aligned, everything will be lined up perfectly for you. So just to recap, I woke up one day and decided, I'm gonna move to Baltimore. I got landed with a job to make the money for the Greyhound ticket for the little $300 that I had in my pocket. To the first week of me getting there, I get the first job I applied for. And for me to meet my then husband at the time, for my aunt to move away, for me to get married, to like everything lines up perfectly when you are aligned with what God is telling you to do. All that to say is that everything will line up perfectly when you are walking in alignment and you listen and obey. And that's the reason for me starting this channel, because I've been procrastinating because of my doubts and fears. But I just had to remember it is like a staple story in my life of faith that I've had to endure within myself, and know that I'm going to be taken care of regardless of what life brings me. Everything is going to line up perfectly, even if I can't see it. And me being the person that I am, I'm a Taurus. And we have the need to know, we have to strategize before something happens. Like, we're very strategic people and we like to prevent things from happening. So that's where the control of a Taurus or any fixed sign, because it's like we just have to know what to expect and how to approach it. But it's a life lesson for me personally to start taking more leaps of faith. When I feel called to do something, I need to act on it, even if I don't know what to expect. And that's very hard for me because, again, Tauruses don't like change. I don't like change, but I love change. But I just don't want to have to go through like the pain of it. Like, I want to be emotionally like ready for it, but it doesn't happen like that. But I will say that it's all worth it. We just have to take that leap of faith. Everything will be lined up perfectly for you. You just have to have faith. How I left everything behind to start a new life in Maryland. And everything worked out perfectly. And to be honest, I feel called again. I'm in that same energy where I just feel like I want to leave everything behind, pack up my stuff and go. I'm in that same energy. I don't know exactly what I'm doing yet, but I will be sure to share that journey with you guys as I go through it in real time, because it's like it's happening again. How about I share? This time I'm doing it with a son. I'm not by myself no more, so it's even more scary. So I have to have even more faith to actually do that and to get past my fear. Just trust that I will be supported along my way. God always made it happen, and I have plenty of testimonies that I will be sharing with you guys that, hey, once I trust and believe, everything works out perfectly. Even when I couldn't see it, and it'll work out differently than what I expected. So stay tuned for that. And I'm excited to share this with you guys. So like, subscribe, share, and leave your comment below if you have a testimony. I love reading testimonies. Share with me